Do you want to learn more about the real Belize and listen to locals and expat stories that are actually living here in Belize? Well, you're in the right place right now. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Macarena Rose. We are in San Ignacio, Belize, and today we're going to speak to Susan Brill, who we've been blessed to speak to before. She has a very magnificent story about coming to Belize for some healing and therapies. And she's a fascinating woman because you actually, you're an editor, you obviously have a way with words, and I can see that your passion of way that you live life translates into whatever you do. And I wanted to bring you back today because I know that you have some other stories, and I think we could talk to you every day, frankly. So what is something that you, like a story that you have or an experience that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I had a wonderful experience last summer with my friend Alice. We went down to Punta Gorda in southern Belize because we were both living in Cayo, and to a small town named San Miguel. It's a Mayan village. And there we stayed at this awesome, I guess you'd call it a guest house, called Bush, with these hosts. I believe they were from Amsterdam, or from Holland, the couple was. And they had been in Belize for maybe 8 years or 9 years or so. And their goal was to bring business to the Mayan village of San Miguel. And so they asked us, instead of like going on an official tour that they ran, they asked us to please hire people from the local village, whether hire a Mayan neighbor to cook us a traditional Mayan meal, or hire one of the young men to take us on a guided tour. So we hired this young man to take us to what is locally called Tiger Cave.
Tiger Cave, okay.
Tiger Cave. And I think that locally, they call Jaguar, what I would call Jaguar, they refer to them as tigers.
That's correct.
I am obsessed with wildcats. I have always loved wildcats my whole life. And coming to Belize, I was just like, and I knew I was coming to the jungle side of Belize. I thought, if there's any way that I could see a jaguar in the wild, that would just be so awesome. Like in a car at night, one walking across the street, that would just make my day. That would make me so happy. So we heard about this place called Tiger Cave. And I'm like, Alice, we've got to go. We've got to go there to Tiger Cave because Jaguar lived in the cave. And yet, this local person can take us, and so I'm assuming he knows that it's safe. He's done this 100 times before with other people, so he's not going to get us in a dangerous situation. Oh my word. It was such an amazing experience. First of all, it had rained the night before, so we thought maybe he would let us know that it was canceled, that we couldn't go in, and he said, no, it's in the cave, it should be fine. Well, it flooded the cave.
Oh.
So, for one thing, the whole place was muddy. I have never been so muddy, even when I was 5 years old. It was crazy. Well, first of all, we climb over this fence into this, this long hike into what I thought was the cave. Beautiful kind of cathedral ceiling of a cave. And I made some exclamation and was taking photos, and he said, we're not there yet. This is the entry. Oh my goodness. So we go further into the real entrance of the cave. And he says, okay, go down there. I'm looking, it's like 8 or 10 feet down. I'm like, okay, you go first. I don't quite see how. Where am I going to get a foothold here? And so he climbs down just fine. I try to climb down, I slide, I'm immediately covered with mud. I think at that point Alice didn't even try to climb, she just slid down. And I said to him, how do you stay upright? And he said, you need rubber soles. And I thought, a lot of shoes, even hiking shoes in the US where I bought my shoes, have plastic soles. And apparently for the really slippery cave hiking, you need rubber soles. That was one thing I learned. So we are proceeding through the cave. Very wet. There's a little river in the cave, and he shows us the mark on the ground next to a rock where there were an adult jaguar prince and a baby jaguar prince. Oh. And you could see where the mother had laid with the baby jaguar against the rock and the mother protecting it. Oh, it was so cool. And so we continued in the cave, and there was chamber after chamber. And we got to a point where we would have had to go through water about chest high to get into the next chamber. I was totally excited to do it because he said there's 1 or 2 more chambers before the chamber where the jaguar usually are, because the jaguar lived there in this cave. And I was so excited to do it, but we were super wet, we were super muddy, and as we stood there looking at this option, we hear what totally sounds like thunder. I felt like the whole cave, like there was just this thunderous sound in the cave. And our guide, his eyes pop open, he's like, oh, did you hear that? That's the jaguar. And I'm like, no way, seriously. They are so close that we can hear them. So we listened and we could hear their play growls. And we could hear little higher ones that were the cubs playing. I was overwhelmed. I was in awe. It was so cool to hear this and to know that these wild beasts, were just in another chamber, just right down from us. And I don't quite understand how the cave was made up, but the guide told us they're down in the chamber beyond the next chamber that's below, and they have an exit out where people can't get to. And so they're not aggressive. They don't want to come and find us. They want to get away from us. They don't know what we are, So it's not like they were going to be aggressive and come toward us. Alice is like, Susan, we have to get out of here. We are not going through the chest-high water to get into a chamber that's closer to the jaguar. As Alice is saying, actually it was Susanna, we have to go. As Alice is saying this, there is another thunderous sound coming from the other direction, the direction from which we came. It was, we were surrounded. It was just so awesome. Not in a bad way. We were surrounded, but I was so excited. And I look at the guide and I'm like, is it safe to go back if we hear this jaguar back there? And he just kind of smiles at how naive we are about wild animals.
Well, I think that's a fair question. Hello, I think you're hearing growling on one side and growling on the other side, and you're in the middle. I think it's a very fair question.
I thought so. And he said, no, it's safe to go. As he hears us coming, he'll leave. And so we went back the way we had come. And we went, he came and showed us that where we had seen this little river going through the cave, where our footprints had been. Now there were jaguar prints by our footprints. This jaguar had come to see who had been in his place. We were being stalked, the jaguar, as we were looking for them.
As you were like looking for them, they're looking, checking you out. That's hysterical.
But yeah, and of course, like the guide said, he was gone, obviously, by the time we came. But that was just thrilling. That was such an exciting experience, just to feel like so immersed in part of the jungle that I could experience that. It's just a really extraordinary opportunity.
That is absolutely amazing. So all I can say is definitely welcome to Belize.
Yeah.
You're not, you're not in Kansas anymore, right? Or in your case, but not in your case. But it's just interesting that the experiences you have here are so different, and that you're going to be, writing about these. I can't wait to read the book, quite frankly.
Thank you.
I think it's really exciting. How long do you think you're going to be writing still for? You're already writing now, right?
Well, I'm writing now, and my plan was to be in Belize probably about until May, but my time of really delving in did not start as soon as I expected. So I'm hoping to stay longer. I'm hoping to stay into the summer and have a draft, I would hope, of the book by then, and then spend time reworking and editing and really deciding where it's going to go, how much just about Belize and adventure and fun it's been, and how much about the reasons that I came and the natural health and healing part of it.
I think that's a fascinating part to share with people, actually, and more people are looking for alternative opportunities and ways of living, and also way to eat. And that you're speaking about this and you're going to be writing on it, writing about it in your book that people can learn from is really it's proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
And
can I tell you my blog address on
absolutely
the air?
Yes, please do.
It's blogspot.com. So that's where I've been kind of just posting crazy experiences like me and Alice in Tiger Cave and things like that. And some of the things too that I'm just learning walking through this process.
Well, I will definitely send people there. I thank you for coming today and talking to us again. We're really blessed to get to speak to her today. And Susan definitely has an interesting look at Belize and what good it is for her. We're going to take a short break.